Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. Welcome back. May you kindly take your seat. Mr. Witness, for continuation of your testimony before this Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils and related matters, may I remind you that you are still under oath. Okay, Madam Chair, I hand over the witness to you for us to proceed. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Foon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You are welcome back. Council, can we proceed?
Thank you very much. Mr. Foon, it's good to have you back. Yes, so we were discussing the Finance Committee. Now, I was asking about the main issues regarding the Finance Committee during the time you were there. Now, let me ask whether you, during your time, whether you had access to the audit reports.
Only once.
Which year was that?
Sanjuma Lawoti.
2019 or 2020.
It will be either
either
in 2019 or 2020. During somebody's time, and that's how it happened.
Yes.
We were at the council, we don't get those reports.
So,
in that year, auditors came there to do auditing. I saw somebody among the auditors who I was acquainted with for quite a long time ago. We recognized each other because I knew him through somebody else.
So, Finance Committee chairman.
We were chatting, and during the time we were chatting, he came to know that I am the chairman of the Finance Committee. He asked me certain things which they wanted answered. Among those things, he asked me about the minutes. He asked about minutes. I told him that we have asked about a problem here, which has been here for quite a long time, because we've quarreled, we've discussed this here several times, but we don't get minutes, our minutes. I also told him that we don't see the audit report. Then he promised me now, from this one, you will now have your own copies.
So what copy
Then he, after the whole thing, he did what he said. He gave me the copy, and I think, in fact, our writings showed that.
Evidence all mel dolbe of audit report all kono fana ngol fanal be funtil nge safe nge iki.
And the evidence is in those audit reports. We wrote them and sent them.
Ndola problem mo fen fen ndi audit report kono nga be kile ministry nga follow up nyol kala through management ola kuntonkola.
Whatever turned out to be our problems in that audit report, we wrote it all and sent it to the ministry. Then we made follow-ups again to show what is existing.
So kumala suto yakama audit report mentenyaje o mukilinda manet.
To cut matters short, we saw only one audit report.
Which year?
Sanjuma.
I believe kabekala 2019 or 2020 let.
I believe it must be either in 2019 or 2020.
Mr. Juf, you have to be sure.
Foon.
Mr. Foon, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
you have to be sure.
Do
Do you understand? How often were you sitting?
Allah siwo akake wati ning wati jumaliti kasi ka benguluke.
Janjanbureh area council na ta meeting on la karola for general council meeting number for committee lumber.
Finance committee.
Ha nkawo fulo bele fo sai.
Janjanbureh Area Council, whether it is the General Council meeting or the Finance Committee meeting,
Nasio abukasiano komin laftala nyame.
we don't sit as much as we want it.
Are you say? Please proceed.
Because na hani council meeting nin lafala ngara wadol modern akasia karfulati ma meeting okay.
Even council meeting, sometimes it goes beyond 2 months. We don't have a meeting.
Ngatra management no mambe force la nibe jiti jatala nyoti.
We follow management, we talk to them, we argue with them just to have meetings.
Janimbe silo sotle bulu niye kambeng sotom pour date schedule ngana nga meeting keno.
All that before we get a date from them to have a meeting.
You are saying even the council does not sit for more than 2 months sometimes? Is that what you are saying?
Hani council fango ka foko wala fokanko akatale mensi si akarfuloti bukabeng.
Oketale.
Yes, that happened.
And who do you blame for that?
Ewo do ibe jumale 2 mila wala.
Ntol fangol sara no 2 miro konole bari ndabe council konole.
Well, that blame is on all of us because we are all part of that same council.
Bari ngana kato kele fanang because ntol fanal ka fole ka foko meeting nyanda kelale karkilu bandale meeting manke adu nyanda meeting nale. Okata kol fanal be lare mbulu fanang nyamele alon ko fangol alon ko nyanda kachalale. Adu kanyil fanal be yitandile.
But we try, although it's not possible sometimes, but we try to have meetings and we tell them because we also have issues which we would like to bring out during meetings.
But wanyawanya ni nyama wala ke tol fanal force fanang wato doli buka choice soto labang foi labang ka meeting wala komandi dorong.
But that's always when we continue pressing them, it takes time, but that's what compels them to allow us to have a meeting.
Then nukuna nimbe jala rosot la nga jala rosot but Janjanbureh area council na ta meeting wala karola. Nim management wala after meeting meyeke woka kele tare yake because if only kana ko communicate buka mo batu ngena yo foy. I
will not hide. Janjanbureh area council, when management wants to have a meeting, that meeting will take place as they wanted because they will come and inform everybody.
How about the finance committee? How often were you?
Finance committee for the same thing.
Finance committee also the same thing.
Why was that?
Often be at a problem killing
the same problem.
It is so no nang. So meeting will be all manna fasoto.
When we ask them, they don't mind. Sometimes there are certain meetings which don't have any use.
Ndolnyante kontibola fengol menna nimo landi non dol nyakoto. Woto nibina meeting menkela kota ke osilanga kuma yabe adango be doyala.
The things that we should audit you for. Well, if you don't provide those things for us, well, what then is the use of that meeting? And to make things, to bring things newly, those things that we demand from them, they don't agree to give it to us.
Ministry will local government la select committee ko sa wosang wolbe area council.
We don't hide this. We always inform the ministry and the select committee because every year they come to us. So we inform them about these things.
Wokono melafraka mokil na doko sute during atela watola director of governance watola.
I want to mention somebody, director of governance during his time.
Dunia moy menge wo.
Mr. Foon, I think the question you were asked, we would want you to go straight and answer the point, not to give stories, because if not, we will lose track of understanding your answer to that particular question. So you just answer the question. So that we appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Juf, Mr. Foon.
Yes.
Mr. Foon.
If you don't have access to the audit reports, how will you do your functions well as a committee?
That's it. We cannot do our job.
Are you familiar with the Local Government Finance and Audit Act 2004?
Ako local government wala man secondary la sartolu menu yelandi na fulo doku tamando la karola foyo lu faham le bang yelon
wo mang opportunity soto pour ko kono jube ka karambake nga buko soto nenu.
I didn't have the opportunity to learn those things or to read them, although I got the book before. But the book, what happened to me?
Finance and Audit Act and Decentralization Policy.
Finance and Audit Act and Decentralization Policy.
Brim futata council kutake nga misunderstanding tata nim management otema, especially the chairman ngata so nga obuko diala. When
I went to council newly, there was some sort of a misunderstanding between me and the chairman. Then there was a time when I gave him that book. I didn't give it to him, but I just lent it to him.
So if you look at section 24 of the Act, subsection 6, it talks about the Accounts Committee.
Control committee or accounts committee.
Even though the Local Government Act talks about the Finance Committee.
Local Government Act control.
So basically, sub 6 tells you that that the committee shall examine the reports of the Auditor General.
Auditor General.
The internal auditor.
And internal auditor.
And any other reports in relation to the finances of its council.
And
may in relation to the functions require the attendance of any councillor or officer to explain matters arising from the reports.
And natara akata ite do kulalti council je councilolem anim femfe mendenta o kibarolla ila banke bundalem.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I understand that.
Was this being done?
It cannot be done.
And that report, you should submit to the council,
the
Secretary of State or the Minister, as the case may be,
Secretary of State or Minister,
responsible for finance, and the Auditor General. So you have a very, very wide mandate. But you don't do these things.
He said that happened only once.
When was that?
Because that audit report, we went through and tatala imbulata kono ka kono be jube nga jube auditor la kuero movement and evidence all men fundida.
That audit report, we went through it and saw and looked at the evidences that we found in there.
Saferol fanal natake.
Then we wrote.
Council safero ke ka key ministry.
Council wrote and sent it to the ministry.
And in Service Commission.
Plus the Service Commission.
Because all members I
am referring to the Finance Committee. What you have done at the level of the Finance Committee. I keep on reminding you.
Finance Committee.
Okay.
It's about what you have done as the chairman of the Finance Committee.
Okay.
And not just in your capacity as a